The episode opens with the crew deep in discussion, planning their next steps. The journey ahead is daunting, as they need to travel by sea to reach the Emperor's palace. Their mission: bribe Prime Minister Shakma to act as a mediator between them and the Duchy of Paradil, hoping to secure a future alliance and aid in the looming war against Curran's youngest brother. Licia, the fiancée of Ars, the main protagonist, has been tasked with leading the negotiations. Morel, ever watchful, remarks that they're still just kids, a statement that rings true. But Licia, wise beyond her years, decides to bring Lumiere to the negotiation table. His presence should lend more credibility to their talks. Licia, though young, understands that negotiations begin long before anyone sits at the table, as information often travels faster than they do. Impressed by her wisdom, Morel compliments Licia, telling her she's well suited to be a lord's wife. This, however, sends Charlotte into a fit of frustration. She vehemently declares that she will never accept Licia as Ars' wife, arguing that this is no time to discuss marriage while war looms over them. But is Charlotte driven by jealousy, envy over the attention Licia receives, or is she merely overprotective of the boy who once saved her life? Only time will reveal the truth. Licia, ever the skilled diplomat, quickly smooths things over. With her sweet tongue and subtle manipulation, she praises Charlotte's magic skills, making Charlotte forget her anger for the moment. Meanwhile, Ars, noticing Charlotte's excitement at the prospect of traveling the sea for the first time, decides to bring her along as his bodyguard, allowing her to enjoy the journey. As they set out in their carriage toward the port city, the scene zooms in on Charlotte, fast asleep despite the tension. She sleeps soundly, without a care in the world, as night falls around them. Ars watches her, slightly embarrassed that she can sleep so easily at a time like this. He turns his gaze outside, where one of Morel's crew, Mr. Fom, rides up alongside their carriage, bringing grave news. Fom informs Ars that Basmark, Curran's youngest brother, has already formed an alliance with the Duchy of Saitz, the Western Duchy. Curran, who had been boasting about swiftly uniting the duchies without much effort, is now about to be caught in a pincer between two powerful forces. His underestimation of his brother has put him in grave danger, and the only thing he did right was listening to Ars' advice. Otherwise, Curran would likely lose both his army and his life. Ars feels the pressure mounting as he absorbs the news. Failure to bribe the Duchy of Paradil and secure their support is no longer an option. His hometown of Lamberg lies on the border of Seitz, making the stakes even higher. Licia senses his worry and steps in to reassure him, offering comfort in her calm, confident way. She promises that she will succeed in the negotiations, no matter the cost. In this intimate moment, their connection deepens, until a voice cuts through the quiet. Charlotte, ever vigilant, interrupts with a sharp remark. "Keep it down. All this flirting isn't very nice," she grumbles, clearly irritated. Ars wonders if she overheard the bad news and simply chose not to react. There's something about her silence that lingers, leaving questions unanswered as their journey presses on. Curran, sitting comfortably in his Templar castle, repeats the bad news to Ars and the group, visibly surprised when they reveal they already know. He momentarily forgets that Morel, one of Lord R's employees, has a well-established network of information. He quickly apologizes for dropping the responsibility of the negotiations on them and casually wishes them well, offering nothing else: no extra resources, no support staff, no new ideas. Just 5 simple words: "I wish you all the best." After that, he switches topics, warmly congratulating Ars and Licia on their engagement, as if the urgency of the situation has completely slipped his mind. My thoughts: Curran really doesn't seem to understand how bad things have gotten. He's in a far worse position than before, yet all he offers is a good luck without any practical help. You'd expect him to at least offer more funds or assistance, but no, just casual well wishes from the safety of his castle. Then, Curran's eldest son enters the scene, full of confidence. He greets Ars but gets his name wrong, prompting his father to correct him with a hint of embarrassment. The boy boldly proclaims that he will become the next Duke of Mission, displaying an air of entitlement. He's clearly unaware of how complicated things are, and his youthful arrogance is on full display. After questioning the party's negotiation skills, The young man is swiftly put in his place by his father. Show some respect, Curran says, giving his son a firm look. The boy falls silent, momentarily humbled by the reprimand, though his confidence is far from shaken. After the meeting concluded, Curran quietly took Ars aside, a worried expression on his face. He spoke softly, confessing his concerns about his son, Lenge. I'm not sure how to bring out his true strength, he admitted. Despite the boy's arrogance, Curran's fatherly worry was evident. Knowing that Ars possessed the powerful ability of an appraisal eye, Curran hesitated for a moment before asking, "What did you see when you looked at his stats?" Ars, always straightforward, responded honestly. His stats might not be the highest, he began, but he shows real promise in being a cavalier, a pilot, and even a tactician. His potential for diplomacy is there too. Curran's face lit up at Ars's words. It was clear that hearing this assessment from someone as skilled and perceptive as Ars gave him a sense of relief. He smiled, gratitude in his eyes, and said, "Thank you, Ars. You don't know how much it means to hear that." Curran's hope for his son's future was restored, if only for a moment. As the scene shifts to the bustling market near the port, the crew is enjoying a brief respite before boarding the ship. Charlotte is ecstatic, indulging in all kinds of seafood with childlike joy. Ars, meanwhile, notices Licia admiring a delicate pin at a jewelry stall. Despite her shyness about it, Ars buys it for her. Licia even tries to offer the money to pay for the pin, but Ars refuses with a smile, saying, "Accept this from me. I haven't given you a wedding ring yet, and you'll make me a happy man by accepting this." Ars has a way of being smooth like that, always knowing the right words. With the ship now ready, their journey begins. Charlotte, still beaming from the experience of seeing a ship for the first time, quickly finds her joy interrupted when Lenge, the arrogant son of Curran, shows up unannounced, claiming he is there to be the diplomat and make his father proud. None of the crew, not even Curran, knew he planned to tag along. Lenge, still looking down on Ars, tries to assert himself, making it clear that he doesn't think our hero is worthy of this mission. As the ship sails, something unexpected happens. Everyone but Charlotte, the person who has never seen a ship before, is hit with seasickness. Lenge, despite trying to maintain his tough facade, is among the worst affected. In a hilarious turn of events, he tries to belittle Ars by telling him to go to bed, only to end up throwing up over the side of the ship. But his nausea leads him to spot four stranded people on a small boat, waving frantically for help. The four strangers claim to have been stranded for 2 days and beg for water, which Charlotte, always kind-hearted, gladly offers. But the moment she does, one of the men grabs her and threatens her with nothing more than a kitchen knife, demanding that the crew hand over their valuables or else. Bad idea. Of all the people they could take hostage, they grabbed Charlotte, one of the strongest mages in Mission. Furious that they ruined her first voyage, Charlotte obliterates their would-be captors with a fireball. They really picked the wrong ship to rob. Their troubles don't end there. Lenge, in his usual brash manner, demands the execution of the men for their crime. But Ars, ever observant, notices something off about them: their clothes, their worn feet. These aren't hardened pirates, they're desperate fishermen. Through a bit of questioning, they reveal they borrowed money from merchants to go fishing, but couldn't repay it, leaving them no choice but to resort to robbery to protect their families. Lenge, showing no sympathy, mocks their story, dismissing them as worthless. But Ars, displaying his characteristic compassion, removes 2 of his shirt buttons, handing them over. "You can sell these for 3 gold," he tells them, "and fix your financial troubles." Lenge scoffs at Ars, calling him naive, and even the fishermen reject the offer at first, claiming they don't need sympathy. Their pride blinds them to the fact that they were moments away from execution. Ars, however, remains calm. "This isn't sympathy," he explains. "It's just a loan. Pay me back when your fishing business takes off." The way Ars frames it, disguising his charity as a loan, wins them over, knowing they've already accepted one loan before. But was Ars naive for doing this? Will these fishermen return to the sea to make an honest living, or will they fall back into desperate actions? Let me know what you think in the comments. As the sea journey concludes, the group finally arrives at the Imperial City, a place that is grand in stature but grim in reality. Leng, ever full of himself, continues to boast, even managing to call ours by the wrong name once again. His arrogance remains unshaken, but the sight before them quickly sours the excitement of reaching the capital. The city may be magnificent in its architecture, but the reality is bleak. Starving commoners line the streets, their faces gaunt and hopeless, while the nobles parade around in luxurious clothes, acting as if they don't even notice the suffering. The Empire's situation was already known to be dire, but seeing it firsthand is jarring. The gap between the wealthy and the poor is not just wide, it is devastating, killing any semblance of social structure. The nobles here are wealthier than ever, and the commoners are at their breaking point. Lenge, however, views the scene differently. In his ignorance, he sees the suffering as an opportunity. To him, the mismanagement of the empire is a sign that Shakma, the prime minister they came to bribe, is incapable of governing properly, which would make the negotiations easy. His overconfidence and lack of empathy are grating, but ours and the others remain focused on their goal. Licia excuses herself to prepare for the meeting the next day, leaving the rest to wonder what she's planning. What does she have up her sleeve? The next day, as they wait for Licia, they are all taken aback when she arrives. She is dressed in stunning, expensive clothes adorned with gleaming jewelry, looking every bit the noblewoman. Even Ars, curious about the sudden transformation, asks her what's going on. Licia simply smiles and responds, "You'll see." Clearly, she has a plan in mind, something that goes beyond just looking the part. The time has come for the meeting with the Prime Minister, Shakma. As the group enters the grand meeting room, the atmosphere feels heavy with tension. Shakma sits at the head of the table, exuding authority and power. His posture alone is intimidating, and as Ars uses his appraisal eye, the stats he sees only confirm the challenge ahead. Shakma possesses high levels of diplomacy, intelligence, and ambition. He's not a man who will be easily swayed, and this negotiation will require every bit of skill they have. Ars also notices a subtle power move. Only 3 seats have been provided for a party of 6. It's clear that Shakma is trying to establish control from the start, forcing them to decide who's important enough to sit. The others will have to stand, a quiet reminder that in this room he holds the authority. Licia and Ars take their seats, prepared to face whatever Shakma throws their way. However, before the negotiations can begin, Lenge, the ever-foolish noble, steps forward and introduces himself, boasting about his future as the next Duke of Missian. His arrogance fills the room as he expects respect and recognition for his title, but Shakma quickly shuts him down. "I couldn't care less who you are," Shakma says coldly, his voice dripping with disdain. "The only thing that matters here is how much money you're willing to pay." It's a brutal reality check for Lenge, the spoiled son of a duke whose position is far from certain, meeting the corrupt but powerful leader of the empire. Shakma has no time for titles or lineage, only for the value of the deal. But then, Licia, ever so clever, chimed in. "You're right. Let's talk money." At this moment, we flash back to a discussion that happened the night before on the ship. To summarize, they only had 2,000 gold on hand. If they spent more, they'd need to return home to gather additional funds. A dangerous gamble, given the fragile state of their duchy. This negotiation had to end quickly. Licia started with an offer of 500 gold. Shakma wasn't having it. "You're probably missing a zero there. Using the Emperor's name doesn't come cheap." Licia, undeterred, laughed it off. 5,000? That's the entire annual Empire budget. No one's paying that. Are you trying to sabotage this deal? She pressed on. "We saw your people in the streets. We know you have financial problems." She upped the offer to 800 gold. Shakma, still pushing, said, "You control Semplar, a wealthy city. You can pay more." Licia countered with 900 gold. At this point, Shakma stood up, a clear power move, signaling that the meeting was over. Just as he was about to leave, Licia made one final offer. "We can pay 1,000 gold. That's all we have." Shakma seemed to consider it until the idiot Lengji opened his mouth. "Didn't we bring 2,000 gold? We should just pay him that." I swear, I wanted to knock him out right then and there. Not only did he undermine Licia's carefully crafted negotiation, but he also exposed her as a liar in front of everyone. He truly thought he was helping. He wasn't. Shakma's face lit up at the news of more money. To make amends, you'll pay 2,000 gold now, and some extra for me personally, pushing the total beyond what they had. Thanks to Lenga's arrogance, the deal was failing. When questioned, Lenge responded, "You should have offered 2,000 up front. All this mess could have been avoided." Ars corrected him, pointing out that if they had offered 2,000, Shakma would have just asked for more. Licia, visibly darkened by frustration, still managed to keep her composure. "What's done is done," she muttered. She then followed after Shakma, apologizing profusely, and started stripping off her expensive clothes and jewelry. She offered them to him, saying, "These are worth at least 500 gold. Consider them an apology and gift from me to you, along with the 2,000 for the Empire." Shakma paused, but before accepting, he asked one final question. Is Curran loyal to the Empire? And of course, Lenge opened his mouth again. They have no loyalty to the Empire. Shakma laughed, walking away, but it was clear the negotiations had succeeded. Barely. My thoughts? I'm not a violent person, but if Lenge got stranded at sea, I wouldn't be too upset. With friends like him, who needs enemies? The episode ends with the party celebrating their hard-earned success. Licia, ever composed, revealed, "I knew this would happen. That's why I brought the clothes." What a clever move on her part.